Good morning, wrestling fans. Welcome to PWR today for Wednesday morning. It's April 7th, 2021. I'm the man they call Meathead, joined now on Wednesday mornings by Matthew Thomas. Good morning, Matthew.
Good morning, my wrestling pal, pal.
Pal, oh, pal. Hey, the reviews are in on that little thing that happened last week. Nobody liked it. Just so you know.
Oh, that was one of my favorite episodes of all time.
I don't think people liked it, but it wasn't for them. It was really just to pop the boys in the back. That's all that was. That was for my entertainment. I hope somebody enjoyed it, and that's all that really matters to me.
And as in boys, you mean you and I.
Pretty much. Haven't heard back from Linda K yet. We'll talk to Linda. I believe we're going to talk to her on Saturday. I'll have to check the schedule for the week, but you had to check with her to see what she thought of it, because I know she keeps up on PWR today as well. So let's talk sponsors real quick. Let's talk manscaped.com. David, the Zohan hero, wants you to stay silky smooth. Get on over to manscaped.com and use the promo code PWR. Save yourself 20%. And make sure that, Matthew, I don't know what the weather's like in the greater Denver area right now. Here in the Fox Valley in Wisconsin, we had damn near mid-70s. The last few days. So, I mean, everybody's got their winter bush just hanging out, just unscaped. We need it Manscaped at manscaped.com. And then collarandelbowbrand.com. PWR 360 will save you 10%. Plus, you can get some of the latest in street fashion for the beach. You know, you need something to wear when you're down in Tampa, when you're down at WrestleMania, you're checking out the house show for AEW. Get on over to collarandelbowbrand.com. PWR 360 will save you that 10%. Matthew, what is the weather like going on in the Denver area?
80 yesterday, snow today, I kid you not.
I mean, we know that Denver's the mile-high city, so, I mean, depends on what spot of Denver. So it was 80 yesterday, but it snowed in the same spot today?
Yeah, same spot. And that's the thing. I mean, the thing about Denver proper here, you're around a little over 5,000 feet in elevation. I mean, you go up north in the mountains, it's, you know, you can get snow into June or July on a mountain. But, you know, Denver proper is relatively moderate as far as elevation for a lot of Colorado. And, we were 80 yesterday, around 80, between 75 and 80. And snow today. I did not take a jacket to work today because it was so nice.
Did you drive a
outside.
Mustang in the snow?
Mustang is long gone. That car is long gone, my friend. And when I came back from work tonight, I mean, I had probably it was a light accumulation, like on on the grass and whatnot. But I probably had about an inch or so on my car that I had to get off with my technically not scraping, because there was no scraping, but the brush part of the scraper thing, whatever you call that, snow brush or whatever.
Sure. I mean, I'm just really confused with you. You gave it an inch, you had to get it off, and the whole bushiness of the brush. So
yeah, that's pretty standard for a Tuesday.
Yeah. Well, you might want to get on over to manscaped.com and get that taken care of.
I hear good things about
them. We've got a couple bits of news that we want to get into first. This coming from the quote-unquote legitimate sites. The Tampa Bay Times. They have a story on there because it's WrestleMania week. So obviously, with WrestleMania being in Tampa, they got a big story running on their website and in their paper as well. Tampa's Gimmick Attorney is helping wrestlers trademark their characters. There's a nice big story on Michael Dawkins. He's filed over 150 trademarks on the behalf of professional wrestlers since late 2018. I really love that somebody's taking up this, kind of niche market.
Yeah.
If you don't know who he is, we understand you don't follow law. But if you want to know who he is, he's the guy that helped Cody get the Rhodes name into AEW. Remember, we could just refer to him as Cody. Dustin was Dustin, but they couldn't use the Rhodes name. He was the one that did the work for them and got the trademarks all worked out. The website article starts off with FTR there, but they're holding NWA championship belts. So he's helped out other wrestlers like Big Swole, Lance Archer. He's done a lot of work. He even helped out Something to Wrestle With podcast and, Grilling with JR, those kind of things. So, Matthew, your thoughts on there being a gimmick attorney helping out the wrestlers?
I think it's a great idea. I mean, in most any business endeavor you're in, one of the recipes for success is to really determine what an underserved market is. And to the best of my knowledge, this sounds like kind of what he's done there. And I mean, it's a very specific single lane that has a lot of people, that would need to take advantage of this. And it's a definite need for it. So good for him. And all I want to know is, I think it's probably time you trademark the man they call Meathead.
Yeah, I mean, Rob Reiner might have something to say about it, but we could probably do something there. It's funny too, because not only has it been a lot of the AEW talents that are out there, he's worked with Chris Jericho, who's now in AEW, but he's also worked with Charlotte Flair. He's worked with lots of other folks as well. So I mean, I really do like that there's somebody out there. Charlotte owns the Queen of Wrestling. So now Cody owns like Bunkhouse Stampede. The podcast, Something to Wrestle, that's owned by, and again, the name, slips my mind right now. But I mean, all that stuff, you got to, kind of trademark your stuff. Who's good at trademarking that's in the PWR family? There's somebody that used to talk to me about this all the time. David the Zohan Hero used to talk about trademark, and he had a lot of different trademarks that he had owned as well at one time or another. So, maybe we've got a local guy that maybe could take over the Wisconsin market for trademarking. What do you think?
Oh, I think that's a wonderful idea. And my question is, what is the relationship? What kind of deal has AEW Sting and Sting, formerly of the Police, worked out? Like, where does that stand in legal terms?
I think that they just have a gentleman's agreement. I'm going to be completely honest, because we're talking about Sting was available in the 70s, and he was the musician. And I think Sting, the wrestler, came up in the 80s. And I think that we're talking 30 to 35 years worth of a working gentleman's relationship, that they don't cross, streams.
I would like to think that at some point when Sting got hot, they sat down over a coffee or something and said, we're going to form this gentleman's agreement. Yes, and because they're both Sting, but not to be confused with WWE Edge and The Edge from U2. See, the guy from U2 is The Edge, and that's the
correct. Difference. Yeah, and it's not the like in Ohio State. He's The Edge.
And here's the thing, man. PWR draft coming down to the wire. I think if it goes to the tape, if it goes to the judges, we may have to review the tapes and the correspondence and make sure that a certain someone did not accidentally draft the Edge from U2.
I mean, coming down to the wire, I'm going to win it out. I'm going to have to edge it out. You know what I mean? I got one more bit of news here before we get into Hall of Fame stuff. Triple H has said in a media press call that AJ Styles will not stop bugging him about working with him at WrestleMania. Triple H has said, and he's in his 50s now, that, I haven't technically retired from in-ring competition, but dude, I just don't have the time of day to do it. And, when he says I can get ready, and, he could get ready, I guarantee you Triple H could get ready. But Triple H, look, here, quote, he pesters me every time I see him. He would ask me about it and ask about my schedule. And as we get closer, man, I've said this before, getting ready for WrestleMania is a different thing. And the older you get, the harder it gets. When I first came to me, said, AJ, I'm not going to tell you no personally. I'd love to work with you. And at this point, you can carry me to something. So I'd love it. But look, Triple H is running a company. While Vince is running a company, Triple H also runs a company. And, if there was 27 hours in a day, 30 hours in a day, look, Triple H probably has to take 6 months to get his body ready, to bump, to cardio, to, the physique, appearance. But he's also got to find 6 months of, somebody to help him do his job. He would have to take himself away from doing what he does on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, and I think it would be a great match. I mean, AJ has really kind of fallen into that Shawn Michaels in the latter stage of his career, where he can potentially carry a lot of these guys to excellent matches. But while you were saying that, and while I had our NXT preview for tonight in my head, something that really just enticed me, and I know one of them is in one place and the other one is in another, but my goodness, AJ and Tommaso Ciampa is a WrestleMania match for me.
Ooh.
That's something I really want to see, man.
Okay. And I mean, they're same company, so that can be made, right? We can make that happen. Yeah, I could see that too. Different styles. I mean, because Tommaso can grapple. He's not a flyer by any means, but he is a striker and he is a grappler. And I mean, he's going to wear you down. AJ can wrestle different styles as well.
Yep. You know what I'd like to see, man, is Ciampa to be on top come early next year at come Rumble time. AJ win the Rumble, and the thought is, who's he going after? Who's he going after? He goes after Ciampa. He goes after the NXT title. Man, I'd like to see that.
Okay. All right. Let's talk Hall of Fame. Matthew, did you get to see it? Both classes.
I did. I got to see both classes.
Let's talk about the Peacock Network for a second. It's a live event. There is no rewinding, fast forwarding, pausing, coming back to it, starting it over. It's again something that needs to be fixed. However, after the Hall of Fame, which it was clearly taped, after the Hall of Fame was over and it was done, it did launch onto the network moments later. Yeah. So I think it was about a half hour later it was available to watch.
Yeah, they did a good job with the turnaround time on that because I'd actually run
because it was already in the can.
Yeah, I'd run into some issues with that in the WWE network here in recent months where it would actually not sort into a separate program that I could replay. I had multiple pay-per-views with the network where I actually had to basically go to the network live and then just rewind back, hours upon hours later. So there were some kinks there. And then, of course,
it's not like they're rewinding and you could see it rewinding. You're just going on a bar.
Yeah. And, the thing of it is too, I've had multiple issues with Bleacher Report. Now, Bleacher Report, if you don't jump in, as I'm trying to think. I guess I had issues with Bleacher Report rewinding too. In the last AEW pay-per-view, I more or less had to watch the next day because the replay was not available until 12 hours or so later. So for Peacock, a lot of these issues that we've run into, they do at least, they're doing a good job of getting it there, after the fact. But yeah, this not being able to pause or rewind, it's something that we've gotten really used to on the network, and I think that probably should have been priority number one prior to having any content transferred. I mean, because you're really looking at
a live buffering system.
Yeah, you're really looking at something that, does potentially take away a lot of the enjoyment of a lot of your fan base because, it's one thing for people on East Coast time. Neither you nor I are on East Coast time, and people have other things going on. So that ability to jump in something from the start or to rewind it. And here's the kicker too, Peacock is an app. And so it's not something where you can set a DVR or anything like that. I don't know, even an external source. I don't necessarily think a TiVo or something like that would work on something that's app based. So we are really, we're really going back to pre VCR technology here because, basically early on in VCR days, you could program the thing and you could set a recording on something that was airing. Really with Peacock, unless you are sitting there watching it live, you're really regressing into, several generations ago technology. So, yeah. And I know we have gotten very, very spoiled in recent years. You go back to not so long ago, us forking over $40-$50 for WWE, close to the same amount for a TNA pay-per-view versus, what we were paying for the network, what we're paying for Peacock now. And it's a bargain in a half, but my goodness, it's something that I think really needs to be corrected sooner rather than later, because here's the thing, with the advent of the WWE network and just on-demand programming in general, viewers' habits have changed, and Peacock is not reflecting that at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk Hall of Fame, and let's talk the 2020 induction class, right? First off, to open it up, JBL. And, he had said, let me be serious for a minute. And JBL, while we've all been entertained by him on the television, the backstage story of JBL is that JBL's a bully.
Yeah.
I mean, plain and simple. And, he's been like that. And he said, let me take a moment. If I've hurt anybody's feelings, I'm like, wow, how 2021 are we right now? And then he flipped it wrestling style. I was laughing, and I shouldn't be laughing.
Yeah.
Your thoughts?
Yeah, I really enjoyed listening to him talk initially, and you really just, I find myself with JBL, as much as I have enjoyed the character, as much as I enjoyed listening to him share stories and listening to him talk, because whether it be promo or whether it be, just an actual interview, he's always been somebody who's entertained me. I've really enjoyed his commentary run with Michael Cole on SmackDown mid 2000s. I thought that was a great commentary team. I find myself having to differentiate the JBL character and the on-screen presence, with a lot of the other stuff that has come across in recent years. And I mean, even his most recent tenure, where he kind of disappeared for a while, and you've unfortunately got all of the stuff that was relayed with the Morrow situation.
Yep.
And it's just, I find myself having to divorce the JBL character WWE persona with a lot of the stuff you've heard, unfortunately.
The next up is the British Bulldog being inducted by wife Diana, daughter Georgia, and son Harry Smith. Harry having a run in the WWE as well. Now he's been working, I believe he's with NWA. He's got like a huge gold chain that he wears, and he wore the chain tonight too. I loved him coming out, in character. Looked super tan, and they brought a new version of Matilda. What did he say? The great granddaughter of Matilda, basically.
The granddaughter. Yep.
I thought it was kind of cool. Your thoughts?
Yeah, we need Harry Smith on WWE television, man. I know we had him for a while, but he's a decade or so more mature now, and that's really kind of what I took away from it. I would really like to see this guy on WWE programming, and I thought Diana looked great. She must be going to that same fountain that Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin go to, because I mean, this looked like Diana mid-90s angle with Brett and Owen and Bulldog. So really glad to see her out there. Really glad to see, the whole family. And my goodness, I would really like to see Harry as a mainstay in WWE sooner rather than later.
Jushin Thunder Liger from Japan is the really WCW wise, he was the one that really kind of legitimized a lot of the luchador style when they had him in the WCW. But I mean, the guy's been an international superstar for years. Glad to see him in the Hall of Fame.
I thought it was a missed opportunity to not have all of the people that were on there remotely somewhere, but together. Jushin Thunder Liger, Ozzy, William Shatner, Great Khali. My goodness, put those four in a room. That's freaking entertainment right now.
Okay. I mean, I get it. And let's talk about William Shatner. 90 years old, by the way. William Shatner. Does he look 90 to you?
Oh, my goodness. He looks outstanding, man. I mean, that is probably the youngest 90 I've ever seen, with maybe the exception of Dick Van Dyke.
Okay. The Bellas are in the Hall of Fame. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I thought it was fine. The Bellas, like we talked about before, they kind of came at the very tail end of that Divas era, kind of where that Divas era split into the the
Women's Revolution.
Women's Revolution that we see. And I think one big thing with the Bellas too is a lot of the establishment of that Divas brand and female wrestlers outside of WWE with all of the reality stuff. So I mean, I think they have really served as a very strong brand ambassador to the WWE. It makes me feel old that the Bellas are in the Hall of Fame now. I mean, we both remember their initial run, and they're in the Hall of Fame now. So I think it's well deserved, and I can't believe it's been that long, man.
Super excited to see Titus O'Neil get the
Yeah.
2020 Warrior Award for everything that he does as a
100%.
WWE Global Ambassador.
Without
Still
a
a
doubt.
wrestler. Sometimes he slides underneath the ring because he slipped. But other than that, Titus O'Neil doing great work outside the ring.
No, without a doubt. I mean, it's always a pleasure to see him and hear about, everything. And I got a little bit more of his backstory last night than I was necessarily familiar with. So just an outstanding story for what the guy's been through and what he's accomplished.
Now, we couldn't induct the entire NWO because, we're talking NWO Black and White, NWO Wolfpack. We're talking NWO, Silver and Black. We're talking Horace Hogan, Disco Inferno. We can't induct the entire NWO. Loved seeing them up there. They belong out there, right? Hogan belongs, Hogan, Nash, Hall, even X-Pac. But I think X-Pac is just there for being X-Pac. But for the love of God, somebody give Hogan a better looking belt, because that looked like
yeah, that was rough, man. That was rough.
That's all I got. Scott looked good. Sean Waltman looked good. Nash always looks good, and he is the Walrus Cuckoo Cachoo.
Yes, and read into that what you will, man. Read into that. A lot of people think that might have been a little allusion to Paul McCartney dying back in the late '60s, and then another Paul McCartney taking over. So I think Nash might have been wise with that last night, trying to drop a little bit of hint for the viewers, huh?
There you go. Hey, Hogan dropping a little hint on his surf shop.
Yeah, which I tried to get to back in October, and they were closed down. Can you
What
believe
city is that again?
Well, he said Clearwater. Now, I was in Orlando or just outside of Orlando. I don't think that would have technically been Clearwater, but the reason I didn't go there intentionally to go to Hogan's Beach Shop, I actually went there intentionally to go to the world's largest McDonald's, where you can actually get brick oven pizza and play in an arcade, which I did both. And it just so happened that I was right across the street from Hogan's Beach Shop. So I was a pretty happy dude. And I was a little bit disappointed when it was closed. But hey, at least I got to go to the world's largest McDonald's.
Let's talk about the class of 2021. The whole effing show, as I told Linda, my worst interview ever, not because it was his fault. It was definitely my fault. Rob Van Dam.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. My worst interview ever, and not because it was his fault or my fault, it was because it actually never happened. It was supposed to happen, was Matthew Thomas interviewing fellow College of Charleston alumni Brad Maddox.
But then he made a video with the girls, and
I think the reason, it's funny you mentioned Surf Shop, because I legitimately, the reason that the interview never happened was he ended up going surfing that day.
Yeah, Surfing USA. But
Small world.
Yeah, Rob Van Dam. Again, all these speeches were truncated because it was a tape thing. I think they did the best they could with what they were working with. But Rob Van Dam telling us about how he was just connected to the universe. And, that's a RVD in a nutshell right there. Molly Holly's speech was the shortest of them all. And I love Molly Holly. Don't get me wrong. Miss Madness 2000. I loved Big E mentioning it. He said he was a big WCW guy and loved watching her wrestle there as well. But Molly Holly didn't mention much about wrestling.
No, I did like the fact that she named some crew members by name, though. I thought that was really cool. Yeah,
that was very cool. So the Madman, the godfather of heavy metal, Ozzy Osbourne, from his palatial estates in Hollywood, California. Let's go crazy. Okay, Ozzy, we get it. But glad to see Ozzy. It looked good.
Yeah, it was fun, for what it needed to be. And I think this year especially, brevity was a really good thing. We didn't get any Mr. T celebrity moments last night.
I want to talk also about the what they're calling the legacy induction ceremony. Here's some of the names. They had Baron Michelle Leone. They had Brickhouse Brown, Dr. Death, Steve Williams, Gary Hart, manager Gary Hart. Yeah. Ray the Crippler Stevens, Dick the Bruiser. We're big Dick the Bruiser fans here in the greater Midwest. Ethel Johnson, Paul Boysch, promoter, Pez Wally, Buzz Sawyer, Did you recognize any of those names besides, let's say Dr. Death, Steve Williams?
Yeah, Gary Hart, Dick the Bruiser, so a few in there.
Okay, Raven Crippler Stevens was a big name for me as well.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's talk about the Great Khali. I loved the Great Khali on the microphone. That was probably my favorite moment, is him talking. Again, he doesn't have a speech impediment, folks. English is not a native language. So this is him speaking English to the best of his ability. And I love that he's out there training. So happy to see the Great Khali.
100%. And, this was exactly what it needed to be.
Eric Bischoff changed the business. Love him or hate him, you had to respect him. And that's the line that had been said over and over, because there's a lot of people that hate him. Eric Bischoff was just recently on AEW television, no more than a couple months ago. And here he is being inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame.
Yeah, and, a lot of people of a certain era now really recount that, late 90s run as the golden era of wrestling. I mean, that is what how many people do you go on the street and that's the last time they watched, or that's what they remember? That's when they got introduced to the business. That doesn't happen with just Vince McMahon running roughshod over everybody. That was the Monday Night War. That was the Attitude Era. And Eric Bischoff was a recipe in all of that.
Eric Bischoff was the reason. I mean, let's just put it right out there. Now, Vince McMahon had to reassess what was going on, and then he came back better than ever to steal from Eric Bischoff. Yeah. But he was the reason it happened. The Warrior Award for 2021 went to an internal employee, Rich Herring. That's great. I don't know Rich, so I can't really speak to him, but he seemed to be very, very taken back by the fact that he was given an award. So happy to see that for him.
No, absolutely.
And then finally, the mayor of Knoxville County, Tennessee. By God, it's got to be. And I've been going around saying that it was JR. I listened to it again last night. That's Vince McMahon saying, it's got to be Kane. I thought Vince was done calling matches by that point.
Oh, my goodness.
Because that was 98, right? Bad Blood 98?
That late 97, right?
Might be 97.
Yeah. Late 97, because you're getting Taker and HBK in the cell. Yeah, that's tail end of Vince's run. Yep. But I thought it was it's always great to see Kane, and he's one of those personalities that, I always love to hear talk. He just comes across as such a great, humble guy, and last night was no exception. Thought it was a great way to close out the show.
Holy smokes. We are going super long. We have not even talked, folks. Tonight, NXT TakeOver, Stand and Deliver, Night 1. Let's preview the matches. We spent so much time on the Hall of Fame. That's all right. So let's talk about it. This is the WrestleMania for NXT, Night 1. Here we go. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Io Shirai and Raquel Gonzalez for the NXT Women's Championship. Io Shirai has gone a long run. She's been very fighting champion. Raquel Gonzalez towering over here. Does Io Shirai hang on and make it through this, or is it now time for a new women's champion?
I think she drops. I think Gonzalez takes the title, and we know going in it's the main event. And I think there's a change here. As great as Shirai's reign has been, I just think we are at a point where we need, an infusion of something a little bit different in that women's division. And Gonzalez has a good look. I mean, she has got that, she's taller. It's a bigger overall presentation than a lot of your women in NXT. And it's been a while. And
she doesn't have the Barbie doll look.
It's a lean, tall, big built look that is not common in really any companies right now. And it's been a while in WWE since we have had, a big person on top in the women's division. I think it's time for something different. And I really think they're tipping the hat with how they're booking this, because if there wasn't something, and I think it's going to be a great match regardless, but if there wasn't something significant, if this was not going to serve as some type of coronation, I don't think we would know predetermined ahead of time that this would be closing the show. Exactly.
Okay, let's move on. The NXT United Kingdom champion, Walter, somebody that's held on to that belt for a long time, taking on Grandpa Ciampa, Tommaso Ciampa from Milwaukee.
Oh, my goodness. This is going to be match of the night. This probably out of anything on the entire NXT card both nights is probably the match I'm looking forward to. I think you've got to make your UK champion look strong. I think Walter goes over Ciampa. Ciampa has been that mainstay in NXT to where I don't think a loss significantly hurts him. I think Walter wins and what's most likely going to be a match of the year candidate.
Three-way dance for the NXT Tag Team Championships, MSK, Grizzled Young Veterans, and Legado del Fantasma. The titles were vacated due to the injury to the oh my god, I forgot about who was champions already. Only Lorcan and Danny Burch. I knew that. But the injury made them drop the belts. Now a three-way dance at the night one to see who's the new tag team champions. I think this is time for Grizzled Young Veterans.
I'm going to go MSK on this, but I think you really could flip a coin and it could go either way. But just for entertainment purposes, I'm going to pick MSK.
We have a gauntlet eliminator for an NXT North American Championship opportunity. The winner of this match will advance to night 2, take on Johnny Gargano for the NXT North American Championship. It's Isaiah Swerve Scott. It's Leo Ruff. It's Bronson Reed. It's Cameron Grimes. It's Dexter Lumis and L.A. Knight. Yeah. Who do you got?
Oh, my goodness. You know who I want.
We know who you want.
Is it LA Knight or is it not? That's the question. Dexter Lumis is the other one. I mean, Dexter Lumis and Johnny, that's kind of
I've got a bunch of favorites in this match.
Have we, let me ask you this. Have we seen, in this whole Dexter Lumis feud, have we seen him and Gargano yet?
One-on-one? No, I think he went against Austin Theory.
Oh, he did, didn't he? My goodness. I'm going LA Knight. I feel like this is going to be his coming out party.
Okay. Oof. I mean, I'm looking at the graphic here, right? You got Isaiah Swerve Scott, you got Leon Ruff, you got Bronson Reed on the left. You've got Cameron Grimes, Dexter Lumis, and LA Knight on the right. I want the three on the right. I mean, I want any one of those three. Give me Cameron Grimes for entertainment purposes, for funny ha-has. Give me Dexter Lumis for just creeping me out. And give me LA Knight because the guy's just an overall star. I got to pick one, though. LA Knight.
All right.
He's the one that's moving on to night 2. Pun intended.
All right. Looks like we're both settled right there.
Yeah. One more match for night 1. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Kushida, Pete Dunne, the Bruiserweight. What do you got?
I'm going Kushida. He needs something.
I think it's Pete Dunne, and I think he moves on. Now, remember, the Gauntlet Eliminator is going to be 2 men starting a ring. Every 4 minutes, another competitor enters. The only way to be eliminated is via pinfall or submission. Last man remaining will challenge Gargano on night 2. The order of entry was also determined last week as well. Swerve Scott starts first. Leon Ruff. Those two will be one-on-one for the first 4 minutes. Then add Bronson Reed. Then add Cameron Grimes. Then add Dexter Lumis, and LA Knight comes in at the end. If it's not LA Knight, it's going to be Cameron Grimes.
See, I'm going either LA Knight or Lumis. I think that could be another possible avenue because the story's already there.
That is only night 1 of NXT Stand and Deliver TakeOver. Don't forget, we got All Elite Wrestling tonight as well. There's just too much. Matthew Thomas, way too much content. I don't even have time. Luckily, I'm off for these days, so we'll see. We've got more content coming up. Again, we're going to talk to you, Matthew, tomorrow morning. We're going to talk to you on Friday morning as well. I think Saturday morning we're going to put together a WrestleMania preview edition, so get you ready for night 1 and 2 of the WrestleMania. And then Sunday morning, listen to this. We normally don't do shows for you guys on Saturday and Sunday. We're doing shows on Saturday and Sunday. Saturday morning, the WrestleMania preview. Sunday morning, you're going to get the results of night 1. And then Monday morning, after it's all over, we're going to talk about WrestleMania night 2 and get you ready for the Raw after WrestleMania.
This is wall-to-wall coverage.
Wall-to-wall coverage. I
this
need to
might
figure
be
out how much I need to get paid for this.
Oh my goodness. This might be the most expensive WrestleMania coverage you're going to find anywhere. And we
Yeah.
need to, since we're on Saturdays and Sundays, we need to see if we can get somebody to maybe like animate the show and have like a little Saturday morning cartoon version.
We should. We should also get to see if HR will let us go overtime because, human resources, there's labor laws out.
That's right. Well, it's kind of like the whole thing, with me and the whole deal with the Olsen twins, where you only had one character in Michelle, but you had to have two twins play her because you couldn't go over certain.
Big Daddy as well with Adam Sandler.
Yeah. The only thing is I don't have a twin, so we're kind of in a pickle.
Trust me, when they made me, they broke the mold.
In a pickle.
You can't have two of us.
Hey, I don't think we got your take on the first two matches we previewed, though. The women's match and the Ciampa Walter match. Where are you at?
Walter, and it's going to be Io Shirai.
Oh, okay. I like it.
So I know you for it, and that's what you do.
We'll see who comes out on top.
There you go. Well, speaking of coming out on top, it's you, the listeners. Make sure you give us a like and a subscribe wherever you're downloading and listening to us, on YouTube, on Facebook, on iTunes, on Stitcher Premium. I don't even think we're on Premium. I think we're on the regular free Stitcher. We're also on Spotify as well. Get on over there. Take a listen. For Matthew Thomas on the Man They Call Meathead. Hey, thanks for stopping by. So long, everyone.